Hello and welcome to Merlins Brick News, the weekly show on all things brick building, where we talk about set updates and announcements from all the major brands, new LEGO Ideas entries, and general industry news from time to time as well. Information is presented, as always, by setdb.org, the best source for set information on the internet. As always, we are starting in alphabetical order with new sets or set updates, so let's get started right away with BlueBrixx. And there we have not that much this week, actually. We had a ton the last 2 weeks, right? But this week we have only two availabilities. One is the 104775, the Modern Locomotive Hall, 2,973 pieces, though that's quite a beast. 65 centimeters by 37 and 20 slightly above 20 centimeters high. It is designed by Eugen, and BlueBrixx is asking for this one, as always in Europe. That includes tax, 5 cents a piece, so 150 euros. And yeah, it's quite a big building. BlueBrixx has done one of those before, however in a more like imperial look, so to say, and this one, as the name suggests, is a modern version. So it is modular, so you have three in modules inside. So in theory, you could, I don't know, make two halves out of it, or I don't know, maybe even buy a second one if 65 centimeters is not enough for you. So then you have more of these modules. I think for the other one, they also sold extra extension modules. I'm not aware that they have this for this one. Anyhow, if you are train enthusiasts, this might be just the thing to have your locomotives that you're currently not moving properly parked. The other one is what BlueBrixx calls the Gray Runner. Obviously, that is kind of like an homage to Blade the Spinner, I think it is called, right? And Blade Runner. But BlueBrixx doesn't have the license, so they just call it the Gray Runner. It's the 105054. It has 850 pieces. It's 29 centimeters long and 9 height and 13 width. It's designed by Adrian, and BlueBrixx is asking here 38 euros. Roughly that's 4.5 cents a piece. So actually I think the design is quite nice. Technically, I mean, it's a lot of gray, right? But I mean, this is just how the prop looked in the movie, I guess. I've actually never seen it. I've just done a little bit of background research, but I think it's coming very close to the original design, at least from the pictures that I was able to find. So I think for fans of the movie, this is quite a nice offer, I think. But yeah, in a nutshell, it is a vehicle in a futuristic look that is basically made out of, I guess, dark bluish gray and a lot of black. That's about it. And this is actually about everything that we have from BlueBrixx this week. As said, I mean, we had 2 very active weeks from them, so I guess that's okay. Let's come to CaDA, and here we have the Blade sports car, the 51306, a relatively small set. I do not have a piece count. Let me just double check that. I think it's on the box. Yeah, it's 432 pieces. It is an RC controlled. I think. I mean, I've looked. I have had two other sets from CaDA that had this mechanism where you have both a smartphone app that you can even use to put some logic into the vehicle. I mean, it doesn't have any sensors or anything like that, but what you can do is do something like, I don't know, go for 3 seconds straight, then turn right again for 3 seconds, something like that. But at least the 2 sets that I've looked at before that I had, one was the Citroën, the rally car, and the other one was this iRobot, and in both cases there was also regular control involved as well. So it's different than LEGO, at least for all the CaDA sets that I had so far, that you can use a smartphone, but it's completely optional. You get, usually you have an RC in the box. However, I can't see this here. I'm just guessing at this point. But next to that, I think it's a funny, nice, small sports car in lime. That's always a beautiful color, and I think it looks very sporty and quite nice, actually. I also do like the sticker here on front. It looks like a bit like Lamborghini, but it is I think it says CaDA. So quite a nice vehicle. CaDA is selling this, so list price is $45 US. However, I'm pretty sure as soon as we were seeing this in in retail, price will go down. That's at least what usually happens. And with that, we're moving on to Funhole. So Funhole is, I don't know, they're on a run. I mean, they are releasing set after set after set. It's still a small brand. I mean, at this point, we have, how much is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sets. That's not much, but they are going fast. I mean, the Castle on a Cliff is just a few weeks ago. Steampunk Ore Train, I think, was last week. And now this week we have the Steampunk Train Station. Obviously, that's a good fit for the train. 1,843 pieces. I really have to work on my numbers. And it's $143 US roughly. I think the dollar price that I usually have here in the SetDB is usually, I think, price for Europe. Obviously, shipping, etc. All of that depends on where you're living, customs, etc. So anyhow, we have the Steampunk Train Station. And of course, it is, as always, with Funhole. I mean, I'm repeating myself, but as I've talked before, this is the company that is also doing light tailing and BlueBrixx light kits. So basically, that is what you will find in the box as well. And obviously, such a big set is the biggest set they have done. No, that's not true. I think the two buildings have been actually even bigger. Let me just double check on this one. Yeah, both the Lakeside Lodge. However, the Lakeside Lodge was not BlueBrixx pieces, and Wood Cabin was bigger as well. So it looks quite huge, but just from the piece count point of view, it's not even the largest set. But they have a ton of lighting in here. I mean, I don't know. I would roughly get maybe something like 15, 20 LEDs minimum. I guess maybe it goes even beyond 20, who knows. Anyhow, so there's a ton of lighting in there, and of course you have to calculate this into the pricing. I would guess that a light kit like this, independent if it's light tailing, BlueBrixx or Light Mavericks, I think usually it's like $50-$60 US, I would guess. So lighting obviously is a huge proportion here, but nevertheless, it is quite a beautiful train station if, of course, under the condition that steampunk is your cup of tea. Obviously, this will make quite a difference. It is quite simple, I must say. I mean, if you look here on the floor, it's a lot of studs that you are seeing. But I think this is more like, personally, I would see this as an invite to detail this even more a little bit, and maybe see this more as a starting point. It has a track, I think this is a full, it's a regular track, so you can connect this to your whatever else you have. If in case you're a train enthusiast. But I think this one will also look just beautiful on a shelf without any trains involved. Just put the steampunk train that they announced last week into this one, and I think you have quite a nice decoration as well. So that is already that for Funhole, and then we are moving on to LEGO, and obviously a big announcement. I at least have been looking forward to this one. The new UCS sets, the Razor Crest from the Star Wars series, the 75331, 6,187 pieces, so that's not a small one. It includes 4 minifigures. LEGO says 5 because they do count the mount in. It's 72 centimeters deep, 50 in width, and 24 in height. So it's quite a behemoth. It's minifigure scale, and this is, I think, what so many people have been looking forward. And to my knowledge, it is designed by César Soares, and I'm pretty sure I've pronounced this wrong, but anyhow, I'm doing my best here. $600 US, that's 9.7 cents a piece. And I think that is what is to be expected. That's 20-25% lower than the AT-AT was. However, you do not have weight yet. I mean, we have to wait until all the data is moving into Bricklink. As soon as we have the piece count or the exact piece list, to be more precise, we can have a better indication on the weight. So it's too early to say if this is a better price than the AT-AT was. But I think it's already safe to say that at least they haven't raised prices. I mean, LEGO has raised a lot of prices recently, so I think this is a good message for a lot of people that this is still in the usual ballpark for such sets or sets in that size. That being said, though, obviously it's not a cheap one. I mean, $600 is a lot of dollars for a brick set, but at least it seems to be that it's not more expensive than its direct predecessors. All right, I mean, as always, and this is quite unfortunate, I must say, it's a lot of stickers, including the sign down below here, the Razor Crest. It's again a big sticker. Oh my god. I mean, I do hope. I mean, based on what we hear, LEGO is supposed to change that next year. So it seems this is the last set that has that. But I must say, I mean, I'm no more. I mean, I will start believing it when I see it. But even if I see it, hopefully next year, I mean, I guess my best answer is it's about time, LEGO, because they are, I mean, there's so many brands nowadays who are a lot cheaper than LEGO, and they have a lot more prints than LEGO has. But anyhow, what I do love about it, let's talk about this set itself. I think the design is quite beautiful. I think the designers have done an amazing job. Yes, it is, again, here also, if you see the stickers on the side, as always, I'm not a fan of stickers. And I mean, it's so unfortunate because they started so great, right, by having these yellow lines brick built, which is great. This is perfect. In general, my personal opinion is, first you go brick build, and if you can't do it, and with brick build, then you go into prints, and if you want to cheap out, then you go into stickers. But brick build, at least in my books, is always preferable compared to prints, right? So from my point of view, they had a great start here by doing these yellow lines, and then they moved to stickers. This is quite unfortunate. However, I do believe that if you just don't use the stickers, it will look amazing as well. Anyhow, I really like the shape of the whole model. It's really, it's just looking beautiful, the landing gear and everything. I think it has only one big drawback, and that is if we move to, I'm looking to this picture. Yeah, so obviously this thing is not small, right? Like I said, it's more than 70 centimeters long and more than 50 in width. And that means it's not going on many shelves. And as a result, what a lot of people have done in the past, they put this thing on the ceiling, right? And obviously that is, I guess, not something that LEGO is officially supporting, but technically a lot of people are doing this. I mean, a lot of UCS gunships are on the ceiling nowadays, with people. And however, with this one, this might be a problem because, oh my god, is it ugly if you look at it, from on the downside. It's unbelievable. I mean, they've done a horrible job. I mean, if you look at this picture, at least LEGO is honest, right, by showing us this picture, but it's one of the most ugliest thing I've ever seen. There are holes, there are colorful pieces. I do believe you can fix it, right, with just putting another layer on light bluish gray plates on this. At least you can, cover it up a little bit. That's what I'm thinking right now when looking at this. Quite frankly, this is what LEGO should have done. At least, I mean, you don't have to make it perfect. I don't know, inverted tiles would be great, of course, but acceptable if you can't do this, but don't do this. This is just horrible. But anyhow, maybe they did this on purpose to make sure that nobody's putting this one on the ceiling because people might get hurt. But anyhow, next to that, they have quite a nice selection of minifigures. Obviously, the Mando is in there, Grogu is in there, but there's also the Mithril. I don't know. It seems he doesn't have a name. At least I couldn't figure it out, and I don't know how the species is precisely pronounced. I think it's Mithril. I will go for this. And then we have Kuil. I just can't recall. It has been quite a while. Anyhow, and he's on his mount, and as said, the mount is counted as a minifigure. I don't know what happened to this picture. And yeah, it's quite huge. Yes, I mean, if you have a shelf like this, I guess this shelf is, I don't know, something like 70 centimeters depth, then of course you can put it on the shelf. But I think for a lot of us, that is simply not an option. Anyhow, it's quite beautiful. I'm definitely going to build it. I think you can, at least over here in Europe, you can start pre-order on the October 3rd. And this is exactly what I'm going to do. Really looking forward to this one. All right, let's move forward to this Christmas collection set from this year, the LEGO Icons Holiday Main Street, the 10308. It has, I'm not so sure about the piece count. Let me go to the box. It has 1,514 pieces. It has 6 minifigures. Yeah, let's forget the size. It's basically 2 buildings and a train, which is great. However, I must personally say, if I compare it to last year was a decent building, which I usually prefer compared to these very shallow buildings, half buildings that they do not a lot nowadays. And this one, I think, if you look at the inside, it's just like 4 studs. And so that is very shallow, I must say. But nevertheless, I mean, you have this nice and beautiful train. I think it's a very well designed. Really like this one. Yes, it has a million stickers again, unfortunately. And yeah, we all know how this looks after a couple of years. As I said, I mean, LEGO, it's 2021, 2022 even. Come on. I mean, there are so many brands that do so many more prints than you do, and they take only half the price, like Kobe or Keyplay or whatever. Anyhow, so you even the kids' wish list on a 1x2 tile is a sticker. I mean, come on, LEGO. But anyhow, I really like the design. I think it's beautifully done. From my point of view, it's a bit too shallow. I would say at least two additional studs, so 6 in the inside. That is my minimum, I would say. 4 is definitely far too shallow, but nevertheless, I mean, it's quite beautiful, and you can connect it if you have a train track. You can connect it. LEGO is also putting this on the box. I think it was on the back side. Let me just briefly go there. Yeah, basically, I guess there are also instructions available how you can power up, in quotes, this small train. Then we have a gift with purchase announcement. I think it will also start now with this October wave, where you can actually buy the 2 sets that I've talked about before. I think I should have mentioned how much this Christmas set is. It is $100 US, as always, and it's 5,100 pieces. So definitely not I would never call, most LEGO sets are usually not a bargain, but I think this one is actually very well priced. Anyhow, and if you buy this and if you come, I think over here in Germany, it's like you have to go beyond 130 euros, if I'm not mistaken, and then you are getting Ray the Castaway, the 40566. It has 1 minifigure, of course. It has 239 pieces. It's a nice minifigure. Obviously, we had a similar one, I think, in a mini series, in a collector series, I think, a couple of years ago. So the hair is not new. I'm not sure if the trousers are new. It seems to be a dual mold trouser, so that's quite nice. And however, I think it is based on an Ideas entry. So I think there was a challenge a couple of months ago, maybe a year ago. I think it was last year, if I recall correctly. And the winner was this design that you're seeing right here. What I really love about this one as well is, next to the bright and nice design, beautiful minifigure, nice bird, it has palm leaves in olive green. And I think we haven't seen those for quite a while, so I'm really looking forward to these. Obviously, it's a gift with purchase, so it's not something that a lot of Bricklink folks are going to buy, and then you sell these palm leaves for cheap. So I guess it's still kind of restricted. But anyhow, LEGO has obviously started producing those again. So maybe they have made a few more and putting them in a couple of sets, maybe a couple of Ninjago sets. That would be awesome. Anyhow, that's my personal wish, that we see more of these palm leaves in olive green. All right, with that, we are coming to Mega or MEGAConstrux. Who know? I'm still calling this MEGAConstrux, but I think Mattel is now just calling this Mega. I don't know. Doesn't matter. So they have a new Pokemon series. And it's actually, it's quite nice. It's like 5 sets or so. For 1 or 2 of these, I do not have yet the English name. I just have them in German, but actually most of those I have here. And the first one is called the Pokemon Ultimate Jungle Expedition. It's the HHN6 one. It has 1,347 pieces. And at least over here in Germany, Mattel is pricing it for 130 euros. I do not have international pricing yet, but it's going to come. Hopefully, I also do not have yet a shop listing. But anyhow, it doesn't matter. It is a nice set, 1,300 pieces. Very well done. I think there are 3 Pokemons in it. 1, 2, 3. No, it's 4. It's the typical small Pokemon, so to say, like minifigure scale. And it's just beautiful. And what you can do, as with these, together with the other sets, I will just show you a few more, not all of them. HDL 86, for instance, the Pokemon Jungle Ruins building toy set with motion. Okay, maybe I should remove, it's just the jungle ruins. 464 pieces. And again, 1, 2, 3 Pokemons. And so the idea is, and I think I have a picture here in a second. Yeah, as you can see, the idea is that you can basically combine all of these. As I said, I think it's 6 pieces overall, 6 sets or 5 sets overall. So one more is the HDL 80. That's the Adventure Builder Picnic, 193 pieces, 2 Pokemons. And again, the idea is that you can attach it to the overall structure. So I think if you buy all of them, 2 things are for certain. A, you will have a lot less money in your pocket, but you will have a lot of Pokemon and an area to play around with them. So another one is the HDL 77. It's 82 pieces, 1 Pokemon that actually looks astonishing. I really love this design. Very well done, Mega. This water looks just beautiful. I mean, I don't know what they have done. I think it could be this typical Mega, I don't know, colors with movement in them. It just looks great. I mean, let's see. This is obviously a 3D render and not a photo. But I think, yeah, here on the photograph, it looks actually quite nice. It's flickering. It's like a metallic look or something. This looks quite beautiful. The rest of the colors seem to be quite normal. Yeah, that is about that. As I said, I think 1 or 2 sets I've currently missing in my list, and obviously we do not know what Mega is going to do going forward. But anyhow, one more set is the Pokemon Jumbo or Jumbo? How do you pronounce that in English? Charmander, and she has 750 pieces. And yeah, it's one of those bigger sets. I think they have done several of those, especially Charmander. They have done it feels like they have done a dozen of those. It's really crazy, but I think this model is quite beautiful, especially her tail with all the flames. These pieces just look so beautiful. I mean, I really like there are sometimes colors that Mega is doing where I'm really thinking, oh, this is really over the top. But sometimes they just nail it. And I think this tail here, I personally at least really love, and I would love to have these in one of my mocks. This is really, really looking great. And then we have a Halo UNSC Gungoose Gambit vehicle from Halo Infinite. I've never played Halo. My apologies. I just can't do shooters with a controller. I'm an old PC guy, so my apologies. I've tried Halo once or twice. But yeah, I even had a Microsoft Game Pass once, but I don't know, I just couldn't handle it. My fingers start cramping when I start to do a shooter on a controller. So I've never really played Halo. I've seen the movie, I think, or one of the movies, but that's about that. Anyhow, you have 4 minifigures. I think, as far as I can tell, 1 good guy and 3 aliens. And then, of course, you have the vehicle. I guess that's what the Gungoose Gambit vehicle is it called, right? Anyhow, that is about that. And then we have another announcement from them, the Hot Wheels Bigfoot Monster Truck, another Bigfoot. Who would have thought? 538 pieces. And I think the fun part here is they have a regular Hot Wheel in it, and then they have the brick-built version, which actually I do really like. I mean, it has like a nice combination of Technic and system pieces, so system for the chassis basically. And yeah, I think it looks beautiful. It has, as always, of course, mega crazy coloring, like again a metallic look. But I think in case of a car, that really helps. And yeah, it's a monster truck in brick pieces. I mean, what can go wrong? Anyhow, let's move on to Reobrix. There we have from it was not easy to find a good translation for the title. So in ZDB, it's now called Medieval City Booknook. I hope that's how it's pronounced. Until I saw this set and did my research, I didn't even know what a book nook is, and I didn't even know that there's a whole ecosystem of folks doing these things. But I think my understanding from Book Nook is it's like a box, and like you see here, you can look into it, and it's pretty deep. That's the idea. And you put it on your bookshelf in between your books, and then you have these small rooms, and then you can look into them, and they look beautiful. And I think Reobrix has done an amazing job on this one. I mean, the ceiling is not that nice because it's just plate, so obviously a little bit of build direction change would have been nice, and then maybe, I don't know, do a snot technique and go with the studs down so you can tile the ceiling, or maybe even use inverted tiles, but maybe that's ask for a bit too much. But anyhow, that's the only drawback. But next to that, I mean, you look into it pretty deep. Obviously, this thing screams for getting lighting. So that is definitely where you could invest a little bit in Light My Bricks or light tailing or anything like that, because that would be amazing. And this picture shows it quite well. But before we look more at the pictures, let's go on the basics. So 2,922 pieces, so that's quite a lot. And Bauer has it currently listed for $115 US. Again, that is from the EU warehouse. It's $115, like I said, and that makes it 3.9 cents a piece, or roughly 4 cents, which I think is quite okay. Obviously, Reobrix is not the best pieces in the world. That's not GoBricks or Lego or Kobe or CaDA quality, but I think I've built a lot of those, and the quality is quite okay. So here you can see this is basically how the box looks. So the Book Nook, I'm pretty sure I pronounced this wrong, but anyhow, it's 30 centimeters height, 30 centimeters deep, and 15 in width. And of course, the beauty of it, it's brick built, is that you can open it. And I think, there's even lighting included. You don't even have to buy it. Awesome, there are lights included. I think this is great. This is just amazing. And however, the fun part, of course, is you can open it. I think this is what you can always do with a Book Nook. I'm not sure, or if it's only true for this brick build one. Again, I didn't even know that these things exist until yesterday, so I just learned about it. And anyhow, whatever, this one you can open, and yeah, I mean, it is color-wise, it is of course a bit over the top, like Reobrix designs usually are. Yeah, I just think that's how people in Asia think how it looks like in Europe, or maybe it's like an Asian touch. But for those of you from the Asia region, this is not how our buildings have looked 200, 300, 400, 500 years ago. They were never that colorful. I think that's not something we Europeans do. But anyhow, I think overall it's quite a beautiful design, just the colors are a bit over the top. However, I think it's quite easy to reduce it a bit, right? You could, I don't know, switch the Nexonite shields completely into black ones, or just remove them altogether and replace them with 2/3 slopes, for instance. Maybe go a bit more conservative on the gold pieces. Maybe replace a couple of these trans pieces here in the center, and then I think you're good to go. But anyhow, I'm really looking at this. Is also something I want to build. Definitely really looking forward to this one. I think that it's a great idea to do this brick build. And I do hope that, and I have to do a little bit of more research here if this is already a thing on Rebrickable, because I think this is just an amazing idea. It's just so great, and I missed it. I didn't even know about it before. Anyhow, let's move on. Let's go to and by the way, all of this belongs to this European Century series from Reobrix. They have done like a ton of sets in this area. And now we have here the church, 3,468 pieces. Again, EU warehouse from Bauer. I do not have it directly in the Chinese shop from Bauer. I have to double check, why not? Anyhow, that's $150 US, and I'm not sure why the best price. Anyhow, I really have to work on my pricing algorithm here. Anyhow, that's roughly 4 cents a piece. And yeah, again, same problem. In general, I think the architecture is okay. This looks a bit like the church in Strasbourg. However, the towers are slightly wrong, but again, it's over the top. Like, you have this big cross on top. I've never seen a church from that era, like a Gothic church or anything like that, that has a cross like this on top. I don't know. And also the towers look slightly wrong, but anyhow, and of course it has far too many colors. But I think again, I mean the foundation is solid. I think there's a lot you can do about it. Maybe reduce a little bit of coloring here and there. The fences completely in gold, I think you can just remove them. And so I think, yeah, with a few touches and a few changes, I think it could be quite nice, quite decent. And then with that, they also have a lighthouse. It's the 66028, 3,228 pieces. Again, listed. I really don't understand what is going on with the prices here. But anyhow, this is listed here for 140 euros, and that makes it, yeah, slightly above 4 cents a piece. Anyhow, it is a lighthouse. Obviously, it is enormous, especially compared to the recent lighthouse from LEGO. I think they put it somewhere here. Yeah, it's 75 centimeters in height, and then the floor is 42 by 34. So that's actually quite a big one. A lot of very big pieces. I think it also has a very simple lighting included, but of course, I think it's not as well done as the LEGO one. And again, coloring completely over the top. oh my god, somebody went really crazy here with the coloring. But anyhow, if this is your cup of tea, then I think you can get quite a huge lighthouse for your money. Last but not least from Reobrix, but actually the last set of the day is the 22016, the skip loading truck from Reobrix, 1,918 pieces. Roughly, you have to pay for that $100 US, slightly above that, at least the first prices that I have from Chinese shops. And yeah, they also it's one of the many sets nowadays from Reobrix in the series where they work with free designers. The problem is that Reobrix is, I think, the only company that I know that does that. Also put it on the packaging, which is great, but they don't say us who the designer is. They just say it's designed in some country, so Italy or Czech Republic or Germany. And it's very hard to figure out who the designer is. So I've still not yet figured out from who did this design. In general, I think it's quite a nice truck. It has technical functionality. I do not know if it's RC controlled. The packaging, or at least the pictures that I have right now, don't say it, so that's why I wouldn't expect it, but it has a ton of functionality in there, that is for sure. So if you know who the designer is, or if you are the designer yourself, just let me know, put something in the comments, and I will immediately update the set to be. Of course, I need to verify this, but nevertheless. All right, that is new sets, and then let's do LEGO Ideas entries. There are quite a bunch. Let's get started with the Lost City. I think there is no piece count in here as far as, okay. It is, I think 3,000 is the limit for LEGO Ideas, so it's 2,998. I think most of the sets from today are in this ballpark, but anyhow, I think the idea is, hey, you like Atlantis, you like El Dorado, that is the thing. And personally, I must say it's quite a nice design. Very few colors. It's basically light bluish gray and olive green. That's about it, with a few accents in different colors. Obviously, it's a bit overgrown. Needs a bit of polishing, I would say. But all in all, quite a nice, dreamy building. And I think it kind of reminds me like Lord of the Rings a little bit, like Peter Jackson movies a little bit. But yeah, I think it's quite a nice building and quite a nice ideas design. However, personally, I don't think that LEGO is going to do this one. But this one here might have a chance. The Pac-Man moving display. This one is amazing. It has how many pieces? 1,603. So it's on the smaller side. And yeah, basically it's a Pac-Man. So you can, I think there is some technique in there, so you can basically move all of them. And the fun part is you can put in all the different situations. Like, okay, the ghosts are hunting Pac-Man, or he is hunting the blue ghosts, or then of course he's eating. So yeah, it's just so much fun. I mean, obviously it's more for older people, I guess. I mean, even I did not play Pac-Man anymore, and I'm a kid of the 80s. I think you have to be a kid more like of the 70s, at least. But if you're one of those, then I think this could be for you. And then let's move forward to the LEGO Ideas, the Travis suitcase. By the way, all of the entries I'm talking about here, I maybe I should have said this before, is all the ones that are in achieved support state. So that means they have 10,000 supporters, and that means the LEGO Ideas team is going to take a look at it. They do this, I think, in 2 waves per calendar year, right? So last wave is just behind us, and these are basically the first sets, I should not say sets, the first ideas that have been entered into the competition that made the line of 10,000 supporters. LEGO hasn't changed the 10,000 supporter mark for quite some time, and as a result, obviously, the amount of ideas entries has grown, especially during the Corona time. It has grown a lot. So usually we are beyond then 30 entries, usually per wave. But anyhow, I guess having more designs to choose from is a good thing. So here we have a Travis suitcase, and this picture is really driving me crazy. So let's move to this one. And yeah, it has a lot of, it is a Travis suitcase. I mean, what else is to say? Personally, I think it's really nice. I also think it could be a nice addition to all of those who have the guitar or the typewriter or the piano. So if this is your cup of tea, putting these kind of things brick built into the shelf, then this of course is quite nice. You have an interior basically with scenes from vacations, that's my guess, and then you have brick built a little bit of remembrance of, I don't know, like trips where you have been, like to London or Paris or anything like that. I mean, this design here would require either a lot of very large prints, or I guess in a LEGO case, that would mean a lot of stickers. So that's obviously a drawback. However, you have the plate on top of the piece, and as a result, of course, you can put on this whatever you want, right? Take a couple of tiles and ring it. And I think that is the beauty of this one for sure. And then last but not least, let's move forward to the Japanese courtyard garden. And I think this one is really beautiful. However, it is quite huge. I think it's also in the ballpark of, 3,000 pieces, 2,997. So that was again very close. As a result, it's quite huge. I guess this is, I'm not sure, this is a base plate. I guess this is a large one, like 48 by 48, right? So that's gigantic. And for me, that is not what the Japanese garden is all about. For me personally, I mean, technically it is done correctly, but actually I would love it to be a lot smaller, like 16 by 16, 16 by 18, let's go in miniature format. This would be amazing, would actually be a great complement to some of the buildings, for instance, the small buildings that CaDA has done, this Japanese steam bun shop and the Japanese coffee shop, I think the other one is called, and they managed to do, and these designers managed to, or this designer managed to do an entire building on, I think, 16 by 16 or 16 by 18, something like that. And this would exactly be the size I would love to see here. Not just to complement these buildings, but in general, because it also, buildings in that size would work beautifully with the new street system from LEGO. So I think having something like this, right, where you can basically, I don't know, you have just a 40 centimeter deep shelf, something like that, right? And you have, I don't know, a meter width, right? On like a typical IKEA shelf. You can put an entire city on that shelf. So I'm a huge fan of buildings in that size because this whole modular building craziness is just consuming too much space. Not everyone has a basement, right? Where you can have an entire Lego room or something like this for you. So that's why I'm a big fan of these smaller buildings. But nevertheless, let's coming back to this one. I was just putting this out there because I think this is a beautiful design. It's just too big for me, my personal taste. But nevertheless, let's see if LEGO is ever going to do this. If they would do such a garden, I'm pretty sure not in the Ideas program. But that's just me guessing. Anyhow, let's move up to Pixar's Up house with balloons. This is actually quite an astonishing design. I'm not sure if the designer has done this one also brick built. This seems to come out of software, out of the designer, because oh my god, that's a lot of balloons and a lot of weight on top of here. it has kind of, that's the idea, kind of a robust Technic construction on the roof, but nevertheless, it is a very small building with a modular building type roof, i.e. it's basically sitting mostly on tiles of the walls of the first floor, the ground floor, and then you put like this gigantic balloon BMOS on top. So I have my doubt that this actually work in reality, and I'm almost 100% sure that LEGO would never do it. However, obviously, you know, especially with ideas, LEGO is liking, it seems, a lot of licenses, especially for movies and TV shows. So why not? Doing something with Pixar would be great, or with Disney. I mean, they are a big partner of Disney, so why not? I'm just thinking they would do a lot less balloons, like 10% of what you see here. But nevertheless, I like the challenge. Would be great to build this thing exactly like it is here for real. I would really love that challenge. Just to try to make that happen. Anyhow, this was the show for today. I hope you liked the show. For those of you who watch this on YouTube, please leave a like or a comment, or even better, subscribe to the channel. And for you podcast listeners, please leave a review, comment, or like on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to the show. Thanks for listening. See you next week.